Hello and welcome to episode 7 of our journey through William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Last time we watched on as the Macbeth's unusual relationship dynamics unfolded around us. We saw that it was Lady Macbeth who was telling him what to do. She was the one plotting and she was the one convincing him to commit regicide, something that the Jacobean audience would have found very, very unusual. We also heard of them discuss Duncan's arrival at their castle, and how they would have to appear to be perfect hosts, all the while plotting to commit murder. Today, as we look at Act 1, Scene 6, we will see Duncan's arrival at their castle, and we will watch on as Lady Macbeth sets their murderous plot into motion. A reminder on annotation, same as usual, I'll be annotating general plot points in green, contextual factors in blue, and writer's craft in red. That previous scene ended with the dark plot of regicide unfolding, and then in a massive contrast, this scene opens with King Duncan arriving at the castle. There's dramatic irony as the audience know the dark undertones around this arrival. However, Duncan's feelings of peace, serenity and happiness almost seem exaggerated for effect here. We mentioned previously how the witches could control weather. I think there's some potential to link into that here. The weather seems almost too clear and peaceful. Are the witches perhaps controlling that in order to relax Duncan, to lull him into a full sense of security, to cloud any suspicions that he may have developed? Or is it just a coincidence? That peaceful tone is amplified as Shakespeare personifies the season of summer. There's a nice subtle link to the idea of the life cycle here as well, summer being the peak of life, with autumn and winter showing the descent to and then eventuality of death. Duncan's life cycle is about to accelerate from this summer to his winter, his death. Due to that, this scene feels really jarring in context. The previous scene was dark, as are the ones that will follow. This feels almost out of place in comparison. Banquo section here includes more foreshadowing. The smell of heaven is in the air, potentially because Duncan is so close to death. The door to heaven is open for him and the smell is seeping through. There is then some description of how Macbeth's castle has a good vantage point. Each direction is clear and it's easy to see what's on the horizon. If the castle was about to be invaded or attacked in some way, then the people in the castle would be able to see what was coming. Ironic from Shakespeare here because Duncan cannot see what is coming for him inside the castle. With that, Lady Macbeth arrives. Shakespeare's great at using character entrances to build drama, and he's absolutely doing that with Lady Macbeth here. There's piles of foreshadowing and a mention of vantage, the ability to see what is coming. Then she arrives. She's what is coming for Duncan to end his reign and his life. Duncan builds on the suspenseful undertone with really clever use of sibilance. A gentle hissing sound, almost as if Lady Macbeth's deviousness is infecting everything around her. There's irony here as well, as a hostess should be caring for and looking after their guest. Lady Macbeth, as we know, is doing the exact opposite of that. Duncan seems like such a nice person, like overall, but especially here. He's so generous with his praise, so thankful toward anyone who helps him or anyone who is loyal to him. This dramatic irony here does a couple of things. It builds tension as we get closer to the potential murder, and it also paints Macbeth and Lady Macbeth in a darker light in comparison to Duncan. That's going to be particularly important when we look at the role Macbeth might play as king later on. This portrayal's developed through Lady Macbeth's duplicity here. She's lying. She's openly lying as well. Her response is almost exaggerated in its sweetness. The audience know that this is an act. She's luring Duncan into their trap. Duncan, though, wonders where Macbeth is, but Macbeth is staying away. Macbeth's face would give the whole plot away. Lady Macbeth is the dominant partner again here. Firstly, because it should be the lord of the castle who welcomes the king. It isn't, it's his lady. But there is an element of her control over Macbeth. He is staying away because he can't control his face. He can't be devious enough, whereas Lady Macbeth obviously can. This bit's really nice. I like this bit a lot. It's a really subtle allegory. The rest of the pack tried to keep up with Macbeth on their journey from the battlefield to Macbeth's castle, but he was too fast and he got away from them. In the same way that Macbeth and Lady Macbeth's ambitions are getting away from them, they're trying to keep up with where their ambitions are taking them. Then Shakespeare reinforces that host and guest dynamic once more with some more dramatic irony. Duncan then allows her to lead him away into their castle and toward his death. This is immediately followed with more lavish praise towards Macbeth, just to emphasise how good Duncan is and how evil the Macbeths are. We finish with a little bit more sibilance on hostess again, just as a potential reminder of the true intentions of Lady Macbeth and Macbeth at this point. And there we have it, short one this one. At the end of Act 1, Scene 6, the pieces are all in place. Duncan is at the mercy of Lady Macbeth and her vicious, ambitious husband. The witch's prophecies have led us all to Inverness, where regicide is about to be committed. Macbeth is going to attempt to seize power, seize the throne and seize his destiny, as long as he does what Lady Macbeth tells him to. If you've got any extra notes that you think would be useful at this point, please add them to your script, same as usual, and also feel free to add them in the comment section below. I'd love to see what you make of the developments that we're seeing as we get toward the end of Act 1. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. You can also find us over on Instagram at OpenBookPC. I'll see you next time at the end of Act 1 and in the depths of night for some dark plots, some self-doubt and some murderous intent in Act 1, Scene 7.